you ready to start being visible? My name is Mildred. I have spent the past decade plus mastering the art of personal branding in my career as a former journalist, PR and communications professional, and in my business, which has taken on various forms over the years. I now spend my time championing and coaching women to increase their influence, their income, and their impact through being visible on platforms like LinkedIn and beyond.
I would not have met all these wonderful women had I kept hiding, had I not decided to be visible. Being visible has also made me, what's the word, stand in my voice.
In the Start Being Visible podcast, I am going to be sharing with you my insights into the journey of being visible, as well as bringing you amazing, candid conversations from women in the professional world and the business world who have decided to step out of the shadows and into the limelight in their own work lives.
I think when I first started this, being visible was quite a scary thing for me because I get a bit scared about the criticism. We've had a conversation about this on, you might not remember, but when I first started following you, I remember messaging you saying, I'm really scared about the old white men on LinkedIn telling me to get off LinkedIn. And I still have that underlying fear, but it's getting less and less the more I do.
You are absolutely going to love this podcast. We are going to explore the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens of being visible so that you can be equipped with the courage, the knowledge, and the resources to start being visible in your own life.
Visibility is just showing up as my unique, authentic self and using my voice, to share who I am and what I do, and to speak directly to my ideal clients and my clients.
I cannot wait to bring this to you. So I want you to hit the subscribe button wherever it is you listen to your podcast so that you never miss an episode. And I look forward to seeing you on Start Being Visible. Welcome to the very first episode of Start Being Visible. Now, today's episode is a solo episode. How this thing works is that 1 week is going to be a solo episode with just me, Mildred, and then the other week we're going to have an interview with a female leader in the business or career space, where we're going to get to hear her journey to being visible in her field. You are absolutely going to love it. So if you haven't already hit the subscribe button right away, right now is the time to do that, because my goal is to use this podcast to raise the visibility of women in every industry. And I cannot do that without you. So please subscribe, please share the episode if it's been useful to you, and please rate and review and all of that good stuff that you do with podcasts that you love. Okay, so today we're going to be broadcasting. We're going to be talking about something that I thought was really good to set as the foundation for this whole series. So this whole podcast is called Start Being Visible, and it's all about how you can start being visible in your own life, or rather, like how I like to say it, how you can take the center stage in your life. So today I want to set the foundation by sharing with you 3 reasons why you should start being visible today. So, are you ready? Are you ready for this? Are you ready? I want you to sit back, listen, relax, enjoy, and interact with me. Because one more thing to tell you about this podcast series is that we're also going to be broadcasting it live on LinkedIn as well. So you'll be able to see it. If you're listening to this right now as an audio, you'll be able to see it live on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. But on LinkedIn, you'll be able to interact with me there as well. So make sure that you go and check it out. Type in the hashtag Start Being Visible on LinkedIn to find the episodes, or you can type my name, Mildred Talabi, and you'll be able to see it that way too. But okay, listen. So as I said, this first episode, we're going to talk about the 3 reasons why you should start being visible today. And I'm going to give you the reasons up front, and then we're going to talk about it in some detail. And then we're going to wrap up today's show. And then next week, we're going to have that exciting episode that I'm going to tell you about at the end. Okay, so the 3 reasons why you should start being visible today. And by the way, the whole mantra of start being visible, if you don't know the backstory, I'll give you a very quick summary in terms of how I came up with this visibility thing. And my background is journalism. I trained as a journalist and I worked in the media for a while before I transitioned into PR and communications. And I always had a business on the side as part of my I side hustled my entire career. Now, the visibility thing, it kind of came into play for me through my media career and comms and PR, etc. But I didn't start using that word visibility until I started what I do now on LinkedIn, which is coaching female leaders and women in business to build authentic personal brands on LinkedIn and beyond through being visible. So that visibility thing, I came to understand that visibility is the crucial difference between somebody who is just knowledgeable in their field and somebody who is perceived as an expert who got all the opportunities. In fact, I believe it was Thomas Stanley who said it in one of his books. I think the book is Marketing to the Affluent. And he says this, that is the key difference between someone who's knowledgeable and someone who's an expert is visibility. And I couldn't agree more. Because in the media times and all of that, there's people that we would call on for sources, and you can see it today. If you switch on the news and watch TV, read the newspapers, you often find is the same voices again and again. Now, does it mean that those people know more than everybody else in their field? Not necessarily, but those people are more visible than everyone else in their field. So visibility actually breeds visibility. The more visible you are, the more opportunities that you get to be visible. And so it goes on and on. And the opposite is also true. The less visible you are, the less opportunities that you have to be visible. And so you fade further and further away in the background, whether that's in your career or in your business. But I'm here to change that. I'm here to change that for you. So that's why my mantra is start being visible. And that's also the name of my book, book number 4, which I wrote about how to start this process of being visible on LinkedIn and beyond. So it's called Start Being Visible, but that is my mantra, and that's the name of this podcast. I want you to start being visible. I want this podcast to inspire you to start being visible. I don't know if you've already made a start and you paused. Today's the day to start. If you've never started at all, today's the day to start. If you've already started and you're well on that journey, today's the day to keep on going and being visible. But either way, I want you to start being visible in your career, in your work life, and that's going to make a great difference to your life in general. Okay. So that is the precept, the concept, the whatever sept of what we're talking about today. That's the foundation. So let me give you now 3 specific reasons why you should start being visible today. So those 3 reasons are this. Number 1, to increase your influence. Number 2, to increase your income. And number 3, to increase your impact. And we're going to talk about all 3 of these things in just a moment. But let's define the word visible. So when we talk about visible, what are we actually talking about? Now, if you go to the dictionary, any dictionary of choice, the common definition of visible that you would get is the ability to be seen, able to be seen. I like to take it a little bit further than that. I like to define it as being able to be seen, to be heard, and to be remembered. So visibility allows you to be seen, to be heard, and to be remembered. So if we go back to those 3 reasons to be invisible, the first one is to increase your influence. Now, you might say, Mildred, I mean, why do I need to increase my influence? Why is it important to increase my influence? Well, I want you to know this, that the influence is the ability to have an effect on somebody's character, their development, their behavior, on to have an effect on somebody else. Now, wouldn't you like to have a positive effect on someone else? Now, if you're in a relationship, would you not like to have a positive influence on the person you're in a relationship with? I know I certainly would with my husband, right? If you have children, would you not like to positively influence them? I know I certainly would with my two kids, you know. So influence is the ability to have an effect on the character development and behavior of somebody. And I'm putting this as a positive effect, because you don't want to, we're not here for the negative influence. That's not what this podcast is about. We're here for the positive influence. Now, if you want to really make a difference and make your mark in the world, you have to influence people. Now, in our day and age today, you have the term influencer, which kind of gets thrown around here and there. I mean, I don't hate the term. I used to actually. I used not hate the term, but I used to be kind of icky about the term influencer, because it had these connotations of like people who just snap pictures of themselves, on mainly Instagram, just put it out there and then get a million likes, and people like, oh my God, you look amazing. And you cannot figure out what they do in their career except for take pictures and put it on social media. And so I'm like, that's not something that I want to be associated with, right? And then I get made a LinkedIn top voice, a couple of years into my LinkedIn journey. I get made a LinkedIn top voice, and then LinkedIn changes the name of LinkedIn top voice to LinkedIn influencer program. So officially I became an influencer without meaning to be an influencer, So this is from building my audience on LinkedIn to about, I currently at the time of recording this is about 50,000 plus followers on LinkedIn. So that officially gave me the title of LinkedIn influencer, LinkedIn recognizing me as a top voice. So I had to wrestle with that word, and I finally made my peace. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to own it, because part of what I want to do in life is influence people positively. I want to make my mark on this world, and we'll talk about that in a second. So being visible allows you to influence, allows you to increase your influence. Maybe you're in a career situation and you want to be able to influence what goes on in your organization. So being visible will open the doors for you to do that. Maybe you want to influence the managers above you or beneath you, your colleagues or your team as an employee. Being visible will allow you to do that. If you're in business and you want to influence the thinking of your potential clients, I like to call them your future clients, being visible will allow you to do that. Influence is a good thing to have, and being visible is a great way to increase your influence. So that's one of the first reasons why we should want to be visible, and we want to start being visible. And by the way, these are not in any particular order, because it might be influence, income, and impact are the three, and some of them, one might be more important to you. Put it in any order that you want, right? But the sentiment here is that through being visible, you will increase in these three areas of your influence, your income, and your impact. Okay, so that's number one. The first reason you want to start being visible is so that you can increase your influence. Now, reason number two to start being visible on LinkedIn and beyond is because you want to increase your income. Now, let me get something straight off the bat, right? Because there's something that we tend to have as a society, especially in the British culture. Now I know this podcast is global, because I know I have audience that is global, and I know that I serve my clients are global, my coaching clients and speaking engagements and all of that. So I know this is global, but I am going to highlight the UK particularly, because this is where I live. This is my people, right? And I know that there is something especially here about the British culture where we don't like to talk about money openly. Now, in the course of this podcast, Start Being Visible, I am going to then talk about money and all sorts, because it's all part of this whole thing of stepping up and taking charge of our own lives and stepping into the limelight in your own life, increasing your income. Let me tell you this loud and clear. Increasing your income is not only not a bad thing, it is an absolute must if you want to make a difference. Now, I'm not talking about being the next Mother Teresa, but if you want to make a difference to your own life, if you want to make a difference to the life of your family and the people that you love, if you want to make a difference in the world, you have got to learn how to increase your income, and you've got to expose yourself to opportunities to increase your income. And guess what? Being visible helps you to make that happen. Now, one of the most powerful thing that happens when you start to build a visible personal brand on platforms like LinkedIn and beyond is that you start to attract, one, if you're on business, you start to attract a different level of clientele. One, two, you can actually attract more income. Now, your personal brand can raise your prices, because when you have a personal brand, and I'm talking from experience now, people don't just want to work with just anyone. Let's say in my situation, right? I do LinkedIn coaching and business coaching, really, but LinkedIn is the shop front, so I do LinkedIn coaching with women. And what happens is when my clients, my future clients, approach me, they're not approaching me because they're just looking for anybody to teach them about LinkedIn. They usually approach me because they've seen me for a while. Maybe they've watched my LinkedIn lives. They've read my content. I've posted every single day on LinkedIn for the last coming up to 4 years now at the time of recording this podcast. So maybe they've caught many of my posts. Maybe they're on my newsletter mailing list. I have a weekly newsletter called The Visible Woman, which you can sign up to. I'll tell you details at the end. Startbeingvisible.com. That's my website. Go there, sign up there, but maybe they've read my newsletter consistently. So by the time they come to me, they're like, Mildred, I want to work with you. And that's the power of building a visible personal brand on platforms like LinkedIn and beyond, because now the income, because I am an investment is the way I like to say it. I am an investment, but when people come to me, they're usually ready to invest in working with Mildred. Now, if I hadn't spent time, energy, finances also, and all the resources building up my personal brand, that would not be possible. Or that would not, the increase in my income would not be possible. I've had opportunities come to me to increase my income through being visible on LinkedIn. And guess what? The same can happen for you when you start being visible. So increase your income. Ladies, we have got to make this a priority in our lives, okay? Guys, you can make it priority too, but I know for us women, it tends to be a struggle. So let me give you that permission that you need, that it's not only okay to increase your income, it is desirable, and being visible can help you get there. Okay, final reason that you want to start being visible on LinkedIn is to increase your impact. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't believe that I was put into this world to just get up, become an adult, go to a job that I barely like, pay the bills, and then retire and die. I don't know about you, but that does not sound like a good life for me. And that's not the life that I've signed up for. I believe in purpose and legacy. Now, let me tell you something straight up from this first episode. I am a Christian. I love the Lord Jesus Christ with all my heart, soul, and mind. So you're going to hear me reference God every now and again. You're going to hear me talk about Jesus. You're going to hear me talk about Bible from time to time. If that makes you uncomfortable, I would challenge that discomfort, right? I'm never going to hit you around the head with a Bible or anything like that. But I cannot be authentic and talk to you about how to build a personal brand and how to start being visible in an authentic way if I do not include this huge part of my life, which is my faith. So that's why you're going to hear me talk about it. Okay. So when it comes to increasing your impact, I'm about purpose and legacy. And I believe that we all have a God-given purpose. You were put on this earth for a reason. And that reason was not to pay your mortgage. It was not to pay your rent. So it is your duty to discover what that is. And the way you do that is by following the desires of your heart, what I like to call the inner vocation, right? And also looking at what skills, what talents that you have. Maybe we'll do a future episode on this, But really, what I'm saying here is that when you start being visible, you can increase your impact, which is the stamp that you leave on other people's lives, not just when you're gone, but right now. There are people that I know for sure that I've impacted on LinkedIn that I would never know about, through my visibility. Every now and again, in fact, there's almost never a week that goes by I don't hear from somebody who says, Mildred, following you and your visibility teachings and all of that has changed my life. There's not a week that goes by I don't hear about something like that in some way, shape, or form. So I know I'm making an impact in that way, but it's not enough for me. I want to do more. I want to go even bigger, right? This is what this podcast is about. So and this is what writing books and stuff is about. I have 4 books, but that's something else. But I want you to know that if you are at all interested in making an impact in this world that you live in and sharing all that goodness that's inside of you, your skills, your talent, your experience, your knowledge, everything that you were created is designed to help you make a contribution in this world. If you are interested in making an impact, then being visible is absolutely key for you. So you are going to love this journey to be invisible. And I want you to commit today. As we round up this podcast, I want you to commit today to start being visible. And remember these 3 reasons. The reasons are: number 1, being visible allows you to increase your influence. Number 2, being visible allows you to increase your income. And number 3, being visible allows you to increase your impact. Any one of those is a good reason to start being visible. All 3 of them together, now we're really smiling, So that is where I'm going to leave it for this very first solo episode. Now, I would love to hear from you. What resonated the most with you? Which one of these do you want to start working on? Do you need to start working on first, And then also, what other questions do you have for me around being visible? Because I will cover these in solo episodes like these as time goes on. Remember, you can reach me via LinkedIn. You can watch this live on LinkedIn and you can interact in the comments. And, my team and I will pick it up from there. We will absolutely respond. I want you to also feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn or via my website. Go to my website. Even better, go to startbeinvisible.com. That's my website. When you go there, you're going to see everything around this podcast, around my books, how to reach out to me, and do it there. And I will be able to answer your questions or take your questions and answer it in future podcasts. Okay. So that's it for today. If any of that resonates and you're thinking, Mildred, I am ready to start being visible, then reach out to me and we can have a conversation. If you're listening to this on the day that it's being broadcast live for our very first episode or anywhere around that, then you might want to hop on to my next challenge, my next 30-day LinkedIn challenge, which is called the ABC Audience Breakthrough Challenge, which will allow you to start your journey to be invisible in a way that attracts your target audience on LinkedIn. It is an amazing challenge. You get to work with me for 30 days in a group of amazing women. So you can find out more about that one at startbeinvisible.com/ABC. All right. We're wrapping it up for this episode. I hope that was good for you. I hope that was useful for you. In the next episode 2 is going to be a guest interview with an amazing woman who has built and sold a multi-million-pound business in the UK. I cannot wait to share this with you. In the meantime, go to startbeinvisible.com for all the show notes and everything else. And I want you to subscribe, rate, and review, and all of that good stuff. And make sure you come back here to join me next week for the next episode. Take care. And I look forward to seeing you on Start Being Visible.